live now, so be
Okay.
mindful of that on YouTube as well as with our guests.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're almost on YouTube. Loading.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome.
Charlene, can the audience hear us yet?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Drumline. I'm an exercise my rights, cause this all about my life. It's about my life. We ain't going out without a fight, cause this all about our life. This about our life. This about our life. So I'ma vote for Joe. This about our life. This about our life. This about our life. So I'ma vote for Joe. This about our life. It's time that we stand up together, make this world look better. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the hate and all this fake straight line to my face. We gotta find a way, which way we gon' go. So we hit the poll and vote for my homie Joe. Cool, calm, collective, also highly respected, introspective, and I like his message. So the government, he's my president. We all confident Joe Biden gon' win, and when he get in, we know he the one. Cause it's America, we second to none. Tough as they come, you know we don't play. We pledge allegiance to the USA. So who they say, which way we gon' go? November 3rd, I'ma rock that vote and vote for Joe. I'ma exercise my rights, cause this all about my life. This about my life. We ain't going out without a fight, cause this all about our life. This about our life. This about our life. So I'ma vote for Joe. This about our life. This about our life. This about our life. So I'ma vote for Joe. This about our life. Hey, I'ma vote for Joe. November 3rd, I'ma vote for Joe. This about our life. Hey, I'ma vote for Joe. November 3rd, I'ma I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. Hey, I'ma vote for Joe. November 3rd, I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. Hey, I'ma vote for Joe. November 3rd, I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. Hey, I'ma vote for Joe. November 3rd, I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. Hey, I'ma vote for Joe. November 3rd, I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. It's time that we stand up together, make this world look better. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of the hate and all this fake straight line to my face. We gotta find a way, which way we gon' go. So we hit the poll and vote for my homie Joe. Cool, calm, collective, also highly respected. Introspective, and I like his message. So the government, he's my president. We all confident Joe Biden gon' win. And when he get in, we know he the one. Cause it's America, we second to none. Tough as they come, you know we don't play. We pledge allegiance to the USA. So who they say, which way we gon' go? November 3rd, I'ma rock that vote and vote for Joe. I'ma exercise my rights, cause this all about my life. It's about my life. We ain't going out without a fight, cause it's all about our life. It's about our life. It's about our life. So I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. It's about our life. It's about our life. So I'ma vote for Joe. It's about our life. November 3rd is about our life. So use your right. Hey, vote, baby. Oh, boy.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our show, to our event this evening, Soul Fusion Live. I would like to turn it over to co-executives, Patricia Duncan. She's going to start our show. You're on mute.
Thank you so much, Doris. Welcome, everyone. My name is Pat Duncan. I am National Co-Chair for Black Women for Biden. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us tonight, for donating. You are about to be entertained, spoken to, everything you can think of for this next hour or so. But before we get started, we would need to take a moment to say a prayer. And at this time, I would like to have State Liaison Texas, Felita Waits, to lead us in prayer.
Shall we assume an attitude of prayer? To the Lord God Almighty, creator of the universe, the one who sprinkled the stars over the dark and who hovered over the deep in this creation. And dear God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your undying, unending grace, mercy, and unconditional love. And so in celebration of this day, we invite you to come into our midst wherever we are as we gather to raise the funds for this campaign. And dear God, you know, as well as many of us knows, that this is a time that we need you more than ever. And dear God, may we always remember that you are our refuge, that you are our hope, that you are the one who will guide us through this valley. Because in your word, you says we will go through the valley. And so, dear God, right now, as we are in this valley, we are hopeful, we are prayerful, and we praise you for all that you will do today for this event and in the lives of all of your children. We thank you for those who had the vision for this organization and for this event. And we thank you for giving all of us the energy to participate, whether we are an active participant or whether we are a viewer. We know that God is central and God is eternal. And so we just ask that you bless us, that you guide us, and that you continuously remind us of your promise that you would never leave us alone. In the mighty, majestic, and miraculous name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you
Amen.
so much, Belita, for that powerful prayer. Once again, to thank you for donating your dollars to Black Women for Biden, Texas. That is the event that we are holding today. And at this time of this call, we have raised $45,000. Our goal is $100,000. And like my counterpart would say, Danielle Smith, I want to bring my own chair to the table. So please continue to donate whatever you can donate. We understand these times, and help us, Black Women for Biden, get to that table. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you our senior advisor teams that is on the call with us today. So I'd like to introduce my counterpart, Ms. Danielle Smith. She is the other national co-chair for Biden. She is on the East Coast. She's in Maryland, and I am in Colorado. Second of all is our senior congressional advisor, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. Let's give her a round of applause. We have our own congressional advisor. We have Diane Powell. She is a senior advisor, and she is also the co-chair of fundraising. So we need to give her a round of applause too for helping us to get to this amount of money that we are. And last but not least, our beautiful Nala, who is our Gen Z ambassador. So this is just a small part of the Biden national team, but we're a mighty team. And we have shown that we have 29 states as part of Black Women for Biden. And we have St. Croix in the Virgin Islands. So it just shows you how mighty we are. We have worked hard enough to where we are the #1 group with the Biden campaign. So when anything exciting happens, like when he announced Kamala Harris, we were the first group called. So ladies and gentlemen on this call, we know that it is Black women that got Biden to this point, and it's also going to be Black women to take him to the White House. We have 44 days before election, and statistics and planners say that if we have a plan, we're more apt to follow through with our plan. So this is the plan I have for you. 1, check on your registration. Make sure you're registered to vote. 2, if you're not registered to vote, register to vote, please. If you're in a state where you can vote early, vote early. Drop it off. At all costs, please try to avoid mailing your ballot. Last but not least, if you have to vote in person, and there are still 3 states, and Pennsylvania is one of them, which is a battleground state, they cannot vote early, and they have to vote in person. So if you have to vote in person, find your polling place. Find out where you need to go to vote. And last but not least, make sure that you vote on November 3rd. We have some exciting events coming up. The states are going to start doing talking to their own constituents about getting their people out to vote in their state. So we're going to have a Black Women for Biden, Wisconsin. We're going to have a Black Women for Biden, Maine. We're going to have a Black Women for Biden, Michigan. And then our big event on October 23rd is going to be Black Women for Biden USA. You will get an opportunity to see all 29 of our state liaisons. And the name of the event is called Your Vote is Good Trouble, but definitely necessary trouble. So I am so excited to bring on our first video, our first person. I went to a friend of mine in Atlanta, Georgia, and I said, do you know anybody that would write songs for Black Women for Biden? And he said, I do. So the video that you just saw, Vote for Joe, that was written by Larry Pofolk Williams for Black Women for Biden. That is our song, you guys. So the next person, and so I wanted something for voting in case I could get it on Michelle Obama's When We All Vote. So the next young lady, Nisha Nice, wrote this song for us once again, When We All Vote. But let me tell you a little bit about her. Nisha was born in St. Louis, raised in Atlanta. She is a community activist, artist, creator, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. Having worked with legends like Curtis Blow, Outkast, Dee Brat, and many more. It is my honor for you guys to view When We All Vote.
Hey, stand up. Let your voice be heard. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain. I know it's getting rough, you going through some pain, but when we all vote, we can see some change. I know it's getting rough, you going through some pain, but when we all vote, we can see some change. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain. Let's just come together, we're stronger when we unify. Put our minds together and the right results multiply. We should love each other, put our differences to the side. Only way we will progress community on a rise, equality for all. That's the main prize I know you hope for. I can see it in your eyes, Miss Obama, thank you. You very kind and you wise. You always keep it real, with a rock by your side. We need change, let me testify. Right in the vote, I'm electrified. My voice is heard, electrified. I'm so elated, I feel you inside. Change is a journey and I'm here for the ride. All 50 states come together, no divide. Change is a journey and I'm here for the ride. All 50 states come together, no divide. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sunshine through the rain. I know it's getting rough, you're going through some pain, but when we all vote, we can see the change. I know it's getting rough, you're going through some pain, but when we all vote, we can see the change. Let's just come together, we're stronger when we unify. Put our minds together and the right results will multiply. We should love each other, put our differences to the side. Only way we will progress community on the rise, equality for all. That's the main prize I know you hope for. I can see it in your eyes, Miss Obama, thank you. You very kind and you wise, and you always keep it real with a rock by your side. We need change, let me testify. Right in the vote, I'm electrified. My voice was heard, electrified. I'm so elated, I feel you inside. Change is a journey and I'm here for the ride. All 50 states come together, no divide. Change is a journey and I'm here for the ride. All 50 states come together, no divide. When we all vote, we can see some change. When we all vote, we can see some change. When we all vote, we can see some change. Rock the vote, 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 rock it. Rock the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote, rock it. Rock the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote, rock it. Rock the vote, rock the vote, rock the vote, rock it. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain. When we all vote, we can see some change. We can see the sun shining through the rain.
Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. She is serving her 14th term representing the 30th District of Texas, which is in the Dallas area. But I'm proud to add that she is also a senior advisor for Black Women for Biden-Harris. She is the first African American and woman to serve as the full House chair of the U.S. House Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. As chairwoman, she is ensuring that science and technology remain a prominent part of the political discourse and remains the basis of our government decision-making. Congresswoman Johnson is the Dean of the Texas Congressional Delegation, in addition to serving as Dean of the Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona Democratic Congressional Delegation. She is the highest ranking Texan on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee and the first nurse to be elected to the U.S. Congress. Congresswoman Johnson began her career as the first female African-American chief psychiatric nurse at the VA hospital in Dallas. And in 1972, she became the first nurse ever elected to the Texas State House, then achieved the same thing, the same distinction upon her election to the Texas Senate in 1986. From 2011 to 2018, she served as the Science, Space, and Technology Committee first African American and first female ranking member. She has a reputation as a stateswoman who works with both parties to get things done, a reputation earned during her more than 40 years in public office. She is widely recognized as one of the most effective legislators in Congress, credited with authoring or co-authoring more than 177 bills that were passed by the House, Senate, and signed into law by the President. Congresswoman Johnson has a long-standing reputation of providing excellent constituent services to the people who elected her. She is the founder of the Diversity and Innovation Caucus and founder and co-chair of the Congressional Homeless Caucus, co-chair of the Congressional Lupus Caucus, and also the Caucus of Bosnia. She has the honor to serve as chair of the Congressional Black Caucus during the 107th Congress. She is also the mother of one son and 3 grandsons. It is my honor to present to you Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson.
Thank you so very, very much for that introduction. And let me greet everyone and to say how pleased I am that we have come to this point. I am very, very delighted to be participating where we're raising money for the Biden-Harris ticket. I truly believe that the Biden and Harris ticket is the ticket for this year and for the next 4 years, primarily to save our nation and to get it back on course. So I'm delighted to join you. This is an esteemed group. I really can't remember exactly how I got involved, but I think that I got an invitation because it was Black Women for Biden. And of course, I qualify as a Black woman, and I'm definitely for Biden. As a matter of fact, I was one of the people that pushed him to run and said to the vice presidential candidate, my sorority sister, Kamala Harris, that if you run, you will be my favorite woman. But if Biden runs, he will be my candidate of choice. I had known Biden for so long, had worked with him for a very long time, and really felt it was his time to take us where we need to be. This nation is in the shape that I never thought I'd see it. But we need to understand that this is the most important election of my lifetime, and I've been around a long time, because we've got to not only regain our structure, our respect, and our law and order, as well as justice for the American people. We need to regain our footing in the world, that we have been led very much astray by the present administration. So I'm really, really delighted to join this organization and to say that, yes, I'm in. I'm going to support all the way because I'm dedicated to this ticket. I don't know that we could have a better ticket at this time. So thank you so much for having this. Thank you so much for receiving me as a part of this group. And I look forward to continuing to work with you.
When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
Let me tell you the story of a good man, a civil rights leader and a great politician.
The boy from Troy, born in Alabama in 1940. Hitting hard like a hammer. He went to school in Nashville, Tennessee, where he received his first bachelor's degree.
He heard MLK speak, started to think, we gotta break these chains, man, let's link.
Then he met King and Rosa Parks, the big part of the civil rights start.
Fighting for equality and all for humanity and all of the people, stopping this insanity.
A peaceful man that never gave up. An honest man, the opposite of corrupt. He was always true to us. He got black and blue for us. John Lewis always came through for us.
Take the road, ain't nothing wrong with it. Some good trouble. When you're fighting for change. Wrong way, some good trouble. When you're fighting for change. Some good trouble.
In 1961, he became a freedom rider,
Traveling around as a segregation fighter.
At 63, chairman of the SNCC for voters' rights and against police brutality.
One of the big six on the march in Washington. When he gave that speech, he blasted the whole government. A nonviolent warrior making good trouble. If you call him, he'd be there in the double, like it's Selma.
on a bloody Sunday. He almost didn't make it to Monday.
John Lewis was arrested about 40 times. His love for all people was his only crime. He often said, don't you know we all are the same? We all are one in the links of a chain.
A congressman with a conscience supreme, a soldier for peace and a friend of Martin King, supporter of great from Kennedy to Obama, helped the LGBTQ get rid of all the drama. He started a museum for African Americans, a loyal Democrat loved by most of the Republicans.
He gave his whole life fighting for equality and justice for all people and communities.
I say this in contradiction to insanity.
John Lewis, the king of humanity.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Some good trouble. When you're fighting for change, some good wrong with some good trouble. When you're fighting for change, some good trouble. John Lewis, he was a king of humanity. Lover of community, he fought his way into destiny, always making good trouble, good trouble. Good trouble.
We also
She's on, Congresswoman.
Yes, we're ready for you.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to spend just a very short time introducing my colleague who is very new to our group, and we want to welcome her and thank her for joining us. It's Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who is in her 13th term in the U.S. Congress. She serves on Judiciary Committee and the Homeland Security Committee. I'm not quite sure what other committees. I know she served on quite a few committees. She's known to be a prolific speaker. She is a mother and grandmother, a native of Jamaica, New York, who represents the 18th District of Houston. And we're delighted to have her join us today. Congresswoman Lee.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you this evening, and it's a pleasure to be with all of my colleagues, including the Dean, Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, and certainly to be part of this historic and outstanding opportunity for Black women to be heard on a very important and life or death effort. And I'm using that terminology with all of my constituents because it is a question of whether or not, if you value your life and the importance of your future, then you will know that the alternative to not coming out and voting like you've never voted before is really the death of our values and the greatness of this country. I am so proud to champion Joe Biden, who I've been a friend of for 25 years. We stood together when he originally introduced the Violence Against Women Act. As he did so, I stood with him, realizing that this was a provocative and innovative effort to embrace all of the legal needs of women. And I've known him ever since. I had the pleasure of starting to work with Kamala Harris when she came to the United States Senate, and we immediately were drawn to each other because of our major work on criminal justice reform. As a senior member on Homeland Security, third in seniority on Judiciary and on the Budget Committee, all of those committees really pierce into the soul and the DNA of this nation, either through the question of rising white supremacy under Homeland Security and the cyber security attacks that we're expecting during this election with Russian bots, or in the Judiciary Committee, where for decades we've been fighting to ensure the civil rights of all people and to ensure that we have police relationships with our community. We had a philosophy of community-oriented policing. We've moved to the fact that if we're to have justice, there must be police and community relationships where there is a respect for human decency by all. And I have worked since the 1990s to create that atmosphere, passing legislation dealing with the question of fairness and justice in our criminal justice system. Kamala Harris joined me in that effort when she came and was a champion in the United States Senate. And together with my fellow members of the Congressional Black Caucus and members of the Judiciary Committee, we wrote the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. The George Floyd family, champions that they are my constituents and friends, and the pain that they've gone through, even with that pain, they continue to fight for justice. And so our legislation, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, is an opportunity for us to see the distinction between the present administration and the future administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So where are we today? We're today in the backdrop or the loss of a great giant and icon, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Those of us who are lawyers, we know the iconic work that she did, even not being a justice on the Supreme Court, and the very important work that she managed, if you will, on our behalf as women, but yes, people of color and who are vulnerable. Shamefully, the majority leader in the United States Senate, even on the day she died, started talking about her successor. I say all of this and give you this backdrop because I want those who are listening to understand how vital and how important every one of your votes are, and how important it is for you to reach out to others, to make sure that you vote up and down the ballot. I am on the ballot. All of us, many of us have opponents. We don't have in the state of Texas the straight ticket vote. And so we want to encourage people to go and vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the next president and vice president of the United States. But we want you to go down the ballot and remember all of those great Democrats that are going to help bolster this administration, this historic administration, this administration that will take the legislation and Judiciary Committee that is attempting to save lives and restore civil rights and the voting rights. It's going to turn them to life. It's going to make them come to be real and reality, because they will sign that legislation or a budget that recognizes that artificial intelligence is moving to take jobs from many of in our community, and that we must have a massive job training and comprehensive job response, which is part of Joe Biden's economic policies. And then, of course, on Homeland Security, we have to identify white supremacy. We have to recognize that we have to ensure the national security of all of us and begin to understand what is a danger to our nation. And it certainly is not Black Lives Matter, but is found to be the rise of white supremacy. We want a president that represents all of America, and we want Democrats elected up and down the ballot to be his armor bearers, if you will, to be his support team, to work with this historic vice president who will work with us and is ready to work with us. So let me say to all of you, Doris, thank you so very much for your leadership and all those who will be on it. And my point to everyone, each of us are a soldier working toward the final victory, and that is the fair and just election of the next president of the United States and the next vice president of the United States, and electing Democrats up and down the ballot. With that, there will be sure victory, and there will be not a great America, but the best America that we can ever be. Because as my late friend Elijah Cummings would say, we are better than this. And as my dear friend John Robert Lewis would say, this is the beloved community, and this community is going to be the difference in all of our lives. Thank you for having me.
Now we're going to have Valida introduce our next video.
Saxophonist Michael Wilkerson, a Denver resident, has captured the hearts of thousands of faithful fans who have heard his soulful sounds across the United States and in Nice, France, during the over 35 years of his musical career. Michael has opened for and shared the stage with R&B groups and musicians, which include, but not limited to, Solomon Burke, Sammy Mayfield, Clark Terry, Diane Reeves, Marion Meadows, the Bar-Kays, and saxophonist Donald Harrison. He also played for Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition in Chicago. While attending college at Langston University, Michael was known for his powerful sound and distinguished tone, so much so that he was and is known by many as the Saxitude with altitude. Michael continues to thrill his friends, his family, and fans today. He says, Michael, music is the universal language understood by all. So stay in the musical loop and catch Michael when the circle comes back around at www.michaelwilkerson.net. It is now time to be entertained by the Saxitude and altitude. Now is the time for the renowned saxophonist Michael Wilkerson to capture our hearts and our souls. Take it away, Michael.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Ty, would you please introduce our next powerful guest? Ty, would you please introduce our next powerful guest?
Unmute yourself, Ty.
There we go. Thank you. It is an honor this evening that I have the privilege of introducing Mitt C. Joyner, President of the National Association of Social Workers, also known as NSAW, that has 55 chapters throughout the United States and its territories. Mitt also serves as president of the North Region of the International Federation of Social Workers, also known as IFSW, which includes Canada and the United States, and is a member of ISW's executive committee. Her board service included a community-based DNB First, where she was the first female and only African-American to serve in this capacity, and the Chester County Food Bank. Also, Mitt is known as Professor Joyner. She received her bachelor's degree from Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, and her MSW in Planning, Policy, and Administration from Howard University School of Social Work in DC. Mitt's professional career as a social worker began at Chester County Children's Youth and Family Services and Protective Service as a protective service worker. After graduate school, she became the first department head and legal liaison of the Child Abuse Unit at Chester County Children, Youth, and Families. Joyner also the faculty at West Chester University, WCU, an assistant professor, and served as the director and chairperson of the undergraduate social work department. This is a position that Mitt held for decades. And I don't want to make you sound like you've been out there for a long time, Mitt, but you're very seasoned, and we are so excited to have you. While Mitt was also professor, she presided over the campus Frederick Douglass Society, chaired a committee of 16, developed the Civility Award, developed the Frederick Douglass Junior Ambassadors Award, led university town hall meetings. Later in 2011, she retired from the university and created MCJ Consultants, which specializes in organizational change and achieving equity. Mitt has co-authored 3 books, delivered hundreds of presentations at various universities, agencies, businesses, and professional conferences. She is the recipient of numerous awards. Go figure. Mitt is married to the Honorable J. Curtis Joyner, a senior federal judge of the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. Together, they have 3 daughters, very well accomplished, following in their footsteps to serve others. However, her greatest and most important role is being Gigi to her 2 grandsons, Dave and Anthony, who are the reasons she remains committed to the work that she's continuing to do to achieve racial, social, economic, environmental, and political justice for all. Without further ado, I am just excited to welcome President Mitt Joyner.
Hello, everyone. What an honor it is to be here today with such distinguished panelists. As you've heard, my name is Mitt Joyner, and I am proud to serve as the current president of the National Association of Social Workers, a membership base of over 120,000 social workers who are located in 56 chapters throughout the United States and all of its territories. The social work profession has always had a strong justice history. We stand up for the rights of others. The NASW Code of Ethics demands that we practice on 6 core values: service, social justice, the dignity and worth of all people, the importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. Social workers serve as our nation's social justice warriors. We advocate for the rights of all people, especially those who are vulnerable and oppressed. We stand up for your family, for you, and for all the generations to come. We vow to protect and defend the right to vote. It is our duty. We deplore voter suppression of any kind, and we will work to guarantee that your vote is counted and not oppressed, lost, or stolen. These social work trailblazers are prime examples of courageous people who stood up for social justice. Yes, both Dorothy Height and Whitney Young were social workers. In fact, Whitney Young served as the president of NASW, and I am proud to say I stand on his shoulders today. Several social workers serve in Congress. They work diligently, not only to protect your right to vote, but to demand justice for all people. Now, I must admit, standing up and doing what is right, not only for you, but for others, is not always easy. It takes time, courage, fortitude, energy, and commitment. Whitney Young, along with A. Philip Randolph, James Farmer, Roy Wilkins, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the Reverend and the royal person, Honorable John Lewis, were known as the Big Six. They organized the March on Washington. They and others, they protested, their lives were threatened, not only once, but countless times, yet they never gave up. Instead, they worked harder and boldly demanded equity and justice for all. As civil rights activists, they crafted civil rights legislation, including the Voting Rights Act, and pushed for a great society for all people. Whitney Young advised 3 presidents, and he reminded each of them that we, the people of this nation, would always use our vote and remind this nation that we must all stay woke and we must not let any of them down, especially this year on November 2020. You see, I ask you to not only vote, but to also do the hard work, just like the Big Six. Work as if our life and our country's democracy depend on it, because it does. Register and educate others so that all citizens are able to make an informed decision, and make sure that they cast their vote before or on November 3rd. As president of NASW, I was ecstatic when the NASW Political Action Committee endorsed the Biden-Harris ticket. Social workers are members of the Republican and Democrat Party. However, the NASW Code of Ethics states that social workers can only endorse and support candidates who follow the NASW Code of Ethics. Candidates from either party who respect the dignity and worth of all people, who have integrity and do not lie, who tell people the truth, no matter how difficult that may be, who are committed to eradicate racial, social, economic, environmental, and political injustice. Those who are competent and pledge to protect and defend all citizens, no matter their political differences. Therefore, the Biden-Harris ticket overwhelmingly measured up and exceeded the standards set by our profession. The Biden-Harris administration embraces our mission and upholds our code of ethics. Today, I ask all of you to become social justice warriors. Paraphrasing the words of the Honorable John Lewis and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., together we will bend the arc of justice towards equity for all until justice rolls down like water and righteousness becomes a mighty stream. So let us all commit today to show up, stand up, speak up, and vote. Thank you.
That was absolutely powerful. Thank you, Mitt.
Thank you.
You are one firecracker. And we appreciate the work that you do. Now, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the next video and the amazing young powerhouse that produced it. Nala Owens, a very inspiring young lady, is a natural born leader and is a member of our Black Women for Biden-Harris Gen Z group. Now, she's only 17 years old, not even old enough to vote yet, but she is on fire as much as anyone, advocating for our youth to get registered to vote, then vote in this November presidential election. We asked her to produce a video that reflected on the many Black women that have influenced us all in this great nation. And she produced a phenomenal piece that we decided to name Sojourners Troops because of the amazing chills it gave us while reviewing it. Now, before we show you this video, we'd like to hear from her. So Nala, this is such a compelling piece, and it's a compelling piece of history that you produced yourself. So please tell us, what was your vision, motivation, and passion behind using this framework?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you all for having me. It's an honor to share the screen with such incredible and strong Black women, and I admire you all. And in looking towards a political future and being inspired by our democratic process here in the United States, I looked to a woman named Shirley Chisholm, who not that long ago decided that she would be the first Black woman to run for a presidential race for a major political party. And I just found her announcement speech so inspiring and so applicable to our current times. She speaks of a president who had failed us in many ways in dividing the country between young and old, Black and white, and across geographic lines. And I think that that really spoke to me, and I think it'll speak to a lot of Americans in an age where we are separated on the basis of so many lines that when we really think about it, not that they mean nothing, but they should not divide us at all. So I was inspired to use her message and connect that to our future, going from our past to our present and our future with the Biden-Harris ticket, and looking forward to having a Black woman sit in the White House, and having girls across the country just like me being able to look forward and say, this is who I can be, and having that figure to look to. So that was really the inspiration behind this video, and I hope that you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed creating it.
We thank you and honor you.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America. I am not the candidate of Black America, although I am Black and proud. I am not the candidate of the women's movement of this country, although I am a woman and I'm equally proud of that. I am not the candidate of any political bosses or fat cats or special interests. I stand here now without endorsement from many big name politicians or celebrities or any other kind of prop. I do not intend to offer to you the tired and glib cliches which for too long have been a accepted part of our political life. Going forward, I am the candidate of the people of America. Fellow Americans, we have looked in vain for the courage, the spirit, the character, and the words to lift us, to bring out the best in us, to rekindle in each of us our faith in the American dream. Yet all that we have received in return is just another smooth exercise in political manipulation, deceit and deception, callousness and indifference to our individual problems, and the disgusting playing of divisive politics, pitting the young against the old, labor against management, Black against white. The president has broken his promises to us and has therefore lost his claim to our trust and confidence in him. But we are entering a new era in which we must, as Americans, demand stature and size in our national leadership. Leadership which is fresh, leadership which is open, and leadership which is receptive to the problems of all Americans. I have faith in the American people. I believe that we are smart enough to correct our mistakes. I believe we are intelligent enough to recognize the talent, energy, and dedication which all Americans, including women and minorities, have to offer. Americans all over are demanding a new sensibility, a new philosophy of government from Washington. I would remind all Americans at this hour of the words of Abraham Lincoln, "A house divided cannot stand." We Americans are all fellow countrymen, one day confronting the judgment of history in our country. We are all God's children, and the will of each of us is as precious as the will of the most powerful general or corporate millionaire. Those of you who have been neglected, left out, ignored, forgotten, or shunned aside for whatever reason, give me your help at this hour. Join me in an effort to reshape our society and regain control of our destiny.
Now we're going to have Valida please introduce the next video.
I have the absolute pleasure of introducing George Faber of Faber and Friends. The musical career of George A. Faber II leader and founder of Faber and Friends Band, is rich, diverse, and continues to evolve at every turn. From his days of piano lessons and recitals in Kilgore, Texas, to performing with groups at Stephen F. Austin State University, to Lincoln Center in New York City, the Great Wall of China and beyond, George is well known and highly respected for his skills as a keyboardist, bass player, producer, arranger, and innovative arts educator, and his music has captivated audiences all over the world. George, thank you so much for the generosity of Faber and Friends through sharing the talents of your band with this virtual, enlightening, encouraging, and entertaining event. Now, I have a few questions for you, George. Would you please put him on screen? Thank you.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
George, would you just tell us about Faber and Friends?
Started Faber and Friends about in the late 90s. Of course, Faber is me, and my friends are part of bands and musicians throughout the area. And we get together, depending on what style of music we're going to be playing and where we're going to be playing. I can be a duo, a trio. I can take a full 10-piece band out with me. So it's whatever people need. So that's why I say friends, because you never can tell what friends are going to be with me on any given night.
That's true, because I had all 10 pieces at my 70th birthday party. What is the genre of the group, George?
We play all kinds of music, anything from smooth jazz, rhythm and blues. We can do country. We do gospel. We've even been known to do classical music on occasions.
Okay, so what songs will Faber and Friends share with us, and why were those two selections made?
Well, I chose What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, Alfred Cleveland, and Ronaldo Benson, because the lyrics are still, and the music is still relevant and revealing, even after 50 years. It was released in 1971. And I chose Thank You, written by Walter Hawkins, because my friend Chris Oliver, who's an incredible singer, ends all of his shows by saying thank you to the God Almighty. The words really speak to what our world is doing and what's happening in our world now. Tragedies are commonplace, all kinds of diseases, people are slipping away, economy's down, people not getting enough pay. But as you know, God is so good to us. So we just say thank you. And he's taking care of us. So that's why we did those two songs.
And now, thank you, George. And now the captivating Faber and Friends.
Tragedies are commonplace. All kinds of diseases. People are slipping away. Economy's down. People can't get enough pay. Ask for more land. All I can say is thank you, Lord, all you done for me. The folks without homes, they're living in the streets. Some drug habits, some say they just can't be. Muggers and robbers, no place seems to be safe. But you'll be my protest every step of the way. So thank you, Lord. for me. It could have been me outdoors, no room, no clothes, all left alone without a friend, or just a tragic number, the tragic end. Baby, you didn't let it seem it to be. Every day, every hour, you keep on keeping me. Say yes, thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. I'll say it one more time. It could have been outdoors, no food, no clothes. I'm left alone without a friend. Just another tragic number with a tragic end. Hey, but you didn't let it seep into me. No, it has to. Every day, every hour, you keep on keeping me. I say, thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me. No hashtag, no hash. It could have been me. No outdoors, no shoes, no clothes. I'm just alone without a friend. Just a tragic number with the tragic end. Hey, but he didn't let it see fit to be. Every day, every hour, keep on keeping me. All we say is, thank you, Lord, for all you've done for me.
Mother, mother, there's too many of us crying. Brother, 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 there's too many of you dying. You got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Father, Father, we don't need to escalate.
We don't need to escalate.
War is not the answer.
For only our love can conquer pain. Talk to me.
Talk to me.
You can see.
So I can
What's going on?
see what's going on.
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Tell me what's going on.
What's going on? Mother, everybody thinks we're wrong, but who would they judge? Simply because I hurry on to the road, we got to find a way to bring some love here today. Oh. We can lie, we can silence, don't punish me for brutality. But you can talk to me, you can see what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on.
That was some wonderful, wonderful music. Now we're going to ask Valita to introduce the next video.
John Lewis. As the iconic statesman John Lewis prepared for his transition to eternal life, he wrote an essay reflecting the person, life, and the leader he was. This essay is interpreted by many as guidelines he left for us to follow. Congressman Lewis's legendary essay will be shared with us as a tribute to the icon as produced by Black Women for Biden-Harris, National Co-Chair Patricia Duncan, and voiceover artist Doris Lee, who also serves as the Houston liaison for Black Women for Biden-Harris. We will now receive the heartwarming, thoughtful, and motivational essay left for us by one of our most beloved, dedicated, and forthright civil rights leaders.
While my time here has now come to an end, I want you to know that in the last days and hours of my life, you inspired me. You filled me with hope about the next chapter of the great American story when you used your power to make a difference in our society. Millions of people motivated simply by human compassion laid down the burdens of division. Around the country and the world, you set aside race, class, age, language, and nationality to demand respect for human dignity. That is why I had to visit Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington, though I was admitted to the hospital the following day. I just had to see and feel it for myself that after many years of silent witness, the truth is still marching on. Emmett Till was my George Floyd. He was my Rayshard Brooks, Sandra Bland, and Breonna Taylor. He was 14 when he was killed, and I was only 15 years old at the time. I will never, ever forget the moment when it became so clear that he could easily have been me. In those days, fear constrained us like an imaginary prison, and troubling thoughts of potential brutality, committed for no understandable reason, were the bars. Though I was surrounded by two loving parents, plenty of brothers, sisters, and cousins, their love could not protect me from the unholy oppression waiting just outside that family circle. Unchecked, unrestrained violence and government-sanctioned terror had the power to turn a simple stroll to the store for some Skittles or an innocent morning jog down a lonesome country road into a nightmare. If we are to survive as one unified nation, we must discover what so readily takes root in our hearts that could rob Mother Emanuel Church in South Carolina of her brightest and best, shoot unwittingly concert goers in Las Vegas, and choke to death the hopes and dreams of a gifted violinist like Elijah McClain. Like so many young people today, I was searching for a way out, or some might say a way in. And then I heard the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on an old radio. He was talking about the philosophy and discipline of nonviolence. He said we are all complicit when we tolerate injustice. He said it is not enough to say it will get better by and by. He said each of us has a moral obligation to stand up, and speak out. When you see something that is not right, you must say something. You must do something. Democracy is not a state. It is an act. And each generation must do its part to help build what we called the beloved community, a nation in world society at peace with itself. Ordinary people with extraordinary vision can redeem the soul of America by getting in what I call good trouble, necessary trouble. Voting and participating in the democratic process are key. The vote is the most powerful nonviolent change agent you have in a democratic society. You must use it because it is not guaranteed. You can lose it. You must also study and learn the lessons of history, because humanity has been involved in this soul-wrenching existential struggle for a very long time. People on every continent have stood in your shoes through decades and centuries before you. The truth does not change, and that is why the answers worked out long ago can help you find solutions to the challenges of our time. Continue to build union between movements stretching across the globe, because we must put away our willingness to profit from the exploitation of others. Though I may not be here with you, I urge you to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up for what you truly believe. In my life, I have done all I can to demonstrate that the way of peace, the way of love and nonviolence is the more excellent way. Now it's your turn to let freedom ring. When historians pick up their pens to write the story of the 21st century, let them say that it was your generation who laid down the heavy burdens of hate at last, and that peace finally triumphed over violence, aggression, and war. So I say to you, walk with the wind, brothers and sisters, and let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide. Now I'm going to ask Ty to introduce the next.
A pleasure. I have the pleasure of presenting Lee England Jr. Lee is a featuring world-class, classically trained violinist. Lee England Jr. is also known as the soul violinist due to his stylistic blend of R&B, hip hop, and soul. England began playing the violin at the age of 6. Now, when Lee was young, he wanted to quit playing the violin, and his father advised him. He said, "Son, you can quit, but you must first practice 15 minutes a day." Well, that led to Lee England Jr. earning a Bachelor of Violin in Performance, a Bachelor in Music Education, and a bachelor's degree in Audio Engineering. So that didn't work so well, but it did work so well. Lee is also, he's a violinist, an arranger, a composer. He's based out of New York. In addition to his mastery though, the violin, he adds the viola, the cello, bass, guitar, drums, piano, and his voice is absolutely astounding. This has allowed Lee to transcend him beyond boundaries, as you know, opposed to other artists that play the violin. Now, Quincy Jones took note after watching Lee perform at a private event. And Quincy Jones offered to produce and present Lee at the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles for an audience that included George Lucas, Elton John, Lady Gaga, and more. All of this happened so quickly for him. In 2010, Lee performed for Michael Jordan at a private party. Mr. Jordan was so captivated with Lee's performance, he offered Lee an endorsement deal with his shoe brand. So Lee is now a part of the Jordan brand. He's also appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, performed with Bono, Stevie Wonder, John Legend, and Alicia Keys. Adding to his credits, he's composed instrumentals for Chris Brown, his latest album. Lee is also, though, a natural activist. You may have seen him in recent media as he's led many of the violin visuals held, one for our beloved Elijah McClain. He currently has a single out, Accused of Love, but this evening, tonight, I am so excited. I will be presenting to you, Lee will be performing for you, A Change is Going to Come, and I believe it's coming. He will also grace us with a compilation of thought-provoking selections that includes a video with one of his mentors, Quincy Jones. You will see performances this evening from Lee that may make you sad, they may make you happy, but most importantly, his goal this evening was to encourage you to get out and vote and to take someone else to vote with you. I am proud to present this evening, Mr. Lee England Jr.
They're killing us in the streets, even let us put the shit on TV. The revolution's being televised. I thought it wasn't gonna be televised. And I can see with my eyes, and it comes as no surprise that the media lies, twisted fiction up and televised. The revolution's being televised. I just wanna open up a conversation with the nation about some issues that I'm facing, even though I ain't create them. And I'm a patron of the laws, but I ain't make them. So if they ain't protected all, then why obey? It's time to break them. Yeah, it's time to break them. I'm not talking stealing cars or murder and fraud. I'm talking rewriting words to the Constitution, cause right now it's not worth being pooped on, cause there's some holes in it. It's got some words lost in the folds in it. A couple creases with some souls in it. Blood on the hands of those holding it. It's hard to read the fine print, so please define this. Who are the people? Make it make sense. Are we the people? I'm not sure that we're the people, but if we're the people, then somebody tell me why they're killing us in the streets, even let us. They put the shit on TV, the revolution's being televised. I thought it wasn't gonna be televised. I can see with my eyes, and it comes as no surprise that the media lies, twisted fiction up and televised. The revolution's being televised. And I address the nation about the politics of hatred. It is not human nature to be prejudiced or racist. It's the system that we raised in. Power that we gave them got us living like machines. It's a new form of enslavement, and there can only be one word for what we've learned. Absurd, we don't see no bigger picture. We all getting over on this one. Let's ask the president his thoughts upon this issue. We pay for school just to get a job, just to get a job to pay for school. Real talk. We're the fools buying golden lies, only fools to buy. We don't recognize that even fools know what's meant to shine. We're the tools of our demise, taught to lose our minds. The dream we're chasing out here costing us our lives. Don't you see through colored eyes that every palm is colored white? Most of them are different and they pray our pocket rise. And they keep us apart and planted little lies deep down in our hearts that blossomed in the prisons of thought. So what we call freedom ain't freedom at all. So please define this. Who are the people? Make it make sense. Are we the people? I'm not for sure that we're the people, but if we're the people, then somebody tell me why. They're killing us. They're killing us, yeah. Oh, they're killing us. Killing us in the streets, even let us put the shit on TV. The revolution's being televised. I thought it wasn't gonna be televised. I can see with my eyes, and it comes as no surprise that the media lies, twisted fiction up and televised. The revolution's being televised.
Amazing.
Calling all registered voters. Calling all registered voters. Calling all registered voters. My generation needs you.
We would love for our voices to be heard through you.
It's been out there on your phone. Just go out there and vote. And just know that when you cast your vote, you're not only thinking of yourself.
For my generation as well.
You have the power to help us grow up in a better world.
Remember that it is your vote that holds the power for your generation and mine to live in a world where the American dream is not just a dream, but a reality for all.
To get the election information you need, go to vote411.org.
Please, 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 so please go out and vote. Vote for us. Vote for me.
Be my voice.
Vote for us. Vote for us. Vote for us. Vote for me.
all my first time visitors, and those of you who've been here before, I'm about to switch it up. I love playing violin. I do. It's just not enough. To paint the picture, I must ask for your undivided attention and trust that these songs have been written in love. So if you seated, get up. And if you're standing, throw your peace signs up. And show me some love. Welcome to the show. I know that you don't know just what you in for, but I'm sinful to give you thoughts beyond the common mental. Pain and stress, good sex and happiness. And mixed it all inside my pencil, praying one day my words would be blessed. I'm just a messenger, me now. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, I do this. I fought for a chance to stand on stage and show you everything I got. If you feel me, throw your piece in the sky and show me some love. Cause it's all I need. But don't box me in. Show me some love. Cause it's all I need, yeah. Don't box me. Show me some love. Cause it's all I need. Don't box me in. Show me some love. Cause it's all I need. Just don't box me in.
We'd like to take this time to thank every single person that joined us this evening. We want to encourage you to vote. We want to encourage you, if you haven't voted, these are some resources online that you can go to make sure you're registered to vote. And when you register to vote, make sure you vote on or before November 3rd. We must take our democracy back. We must take our country back. And we can do that with Biden-Harris. And Black Women for Biden, generally, and Black Women for Biden-Harris Texas is here to encourage every single one of you. And we ask you to go online and continue to donate so that we can have a seat at that table. And I'd love to hear from some of our other Black Women for Biden Texas team members.
This was absolutely amazing this evening. I'm just so encouraged, and just, you know, all of the words from our congresswomen and from our distinguished panel, our talent this evening. It was, you all truly blessed us. And I hope that those that are tuning in, that you were encouraged as well. Not only will you get out there and vote, but take someone with you. Take someone with you to the polls to vote. this year is, this has really been a very trying time for us. And we have to do more than pray. We have to get out there and do the work that must be done.
Valita, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I ditto what you and Ty have already said, but I also add that we are also voting for more than a president and vice president. We are voting for our future. We are voting to save our democracy, and we are voting to save the soul of our country. Thank you all who attended, all the participants. I must say, this has been an awesome show. Good night, everybody, and keep the faith, keep the spirit. God's still on the throne.
Good night to all, and God bless you all.